Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for all the love that you showed to me on the last video. I really appreciate it. On today's episode of Legal Talk with Timmy, we're going to be talking about how to acquire a property in Nigeria. Yes, and I'm going to run you through the various steps of what you're going to do in order to ensure you're not getting scammed. Before we proceed, I would like to implore you to please like this video, share with your family and friends, and subscribe to my channel. You can also click on the notification button so you know as soon as I drop a video on this channel. So if you like to know how you can properly acquire a property in Nigeria without getting scammed, kindly sit back, relax, and enjoy. So now you've been working so hard for so long and you've made some money and you decide that you're tired of having a landlord, you want to finally acquire your own property, or maybe you just want it for commercial purposes. Whatever reason you want to acquire a property for, there are steps you need to take to ensure that you're acquiring a property that is really going to be yours. You're not acquiring a property that has a court case on it. You're not acquiring a property that has been sold to many people, or you're not acquiring a property from someone who does not have authority to sell to you. So the first step you take when you're trying to get a property, number one, is to find the land, obviously. When it's time to do this, you can't just, it's by sheer luck and maybe one or two people that will be walking on the road, or they will be driving and they will just see for sale sign on a particular property that happens to be something that suits their taste and their budget. So most likely you have to talk to people, get agents. Sometimes you can go online, you just do your research and let people know you're looking for a property, and then you tell them your specifications, the location you want, and your location must match your budget. Once you've matched your location with your budget, then you have to think about your financial plan. Do you intend to pay outrightly, or are you taking a mortgage? Will you be taking loans? Depending on what you're going to be doing, it's very, very important you have all this down before you start looking for the property itself. I promise you I'm going to do a video on mortgage, loans, and your rights in future, so you guys should sit back, relax, and anticipate. The next thing, your agents have come to you with various lands and buildings and houses and in different locations and telling you that these are available. There are some things you need to consider. You need to consider, research that area very well, and the land. You need to know if that area is one area where they only build where they have specification for the kind of house you can build on their lands. There are areas where you can't build more than a bungalow. There are areas where you can't build more than a two-story. So for instance, if you want your property for commercial purposes and you want to build blocks of flats on it, and you buy a land in an area where you cannot build more than a bungalow, you can see that that land does not meet your specification. Also, you need to consider accessibility, utilities, whether it's for personal or commercial purpose. If your land is easily accessible, you will get people to quickly rent out that property, and you'll be able to recoup your return on investment faster than a land that is in a remote area. Also, if it is for your personal use, you would be able to totally enjoy that property. So it's important that you research that area very well before you narrow down and make your decision. Now that you've found the land, you found the area you want it to be, the next thing, this is what you're supposed to have done first, which is to have a lawyer. Everybody should actually have a lawyer, but it's necessary for me to state it again. The next thing you do is get a lawyer. Before you take any step, before you even go and meet the seller, get your lawyer. And this is very, very important, because there are so many things that you might not have at your mind to that your lawyer is going to have at your mind to. So you get your lawyer, and as soon as you get your lawyer, the next step you're going to take is to go with your lawyer for physical inspection of that property. Yes, when it gets into this physical inspection of the property, it's very important, because I've heard a lot of you people buy lands that don't exist. They will tell you that they will give you allocation next week, they will give you allocation next year. The same land that they're telling you they will give you allocation next week, they've told someone who bought the land 10 years ago they will give him allocation, and he's still waiting for allocation after 10 years. So it's very, very important that you buy a land that exists. So it's important that you physically visit that property together with your lawyer. Aside the physical visit, when you go, you also inquire around to be sure that who they are posing as the seller is the seller. Also, when you physically visit the property, you will see whether it is something you want. There are some properties that are in swampy areas. If that's not something you would want, you don't intend to first of all start sand filling, you know that no, this land is not for me already. And also, if maybe it has a caveat on it, that a caveat means something saying beware if you're going to buy this land, as this land is not for sale, or whatever they choose to have written on the particular property, is going to let you know that no, you can't buy this property. I have spoken to a client before who wanted to buy a property that had this land is not for sale on it, and he raised that issue, and they said no, that the reason why they did it is so that people who are not supposed to sell it will not just come and sell it. And he said, okay, now that I am willing to buy, please can you paint it off before I buy? Then they said no, they can't paint it, that you should just buy it like that and all that. That client ended up not buying on advice, but you can see that if the client was not wary of that, if the client never visited that property, there's a very high probability that that client would have paid money and gotten scammed, because it seemed the people who wanted to sell to her did not have the authority to sell that particular property. After conducting physical inspection on your property and you're satisfied, you've asked people around and they tell you that, oh, okay, Mr. Lagbaja is the proper owner of this property. The next thing is to actually approach the seller, the vendor, or whatever name you call it. In law we call it the vendor, but for the purpose of this video I'll stick to using the seller. You approach the seller, you negotiate, the seller will tell you how much he wants to buy, or you make your offer on how much you would like to buy the property. You both negotiate. During this time you talk about payments. If you're going to have a payment plan, you talk about it. If you're going to pay everything outrightly, you talk about it. Everything must be spoken about. If you would agree to buy the property, you talk about everything before you leave at that meeting. It's also important that you ensure that you attend any meeting that you're going to meet the seller of this property with your lawyer. Your lawyer should always be present at every point in time. And this is because there are many things that you as a layman might not avert your mind to, that your lawyer is going to avert his or her mind to, and they will call your attention to. And there are questions that your lawyer knows to ask. At this meeting, the seller is supposed to tell you the history of the property and how they acquired the property. And so it's very, very important that you go with your lawyer, because even when you can't see through these loopholes, your lawyer is skilled and trained well enough to see them. Okay, so now you've done all the preliminary stages. It's now time for your lawyer to conduct a search on that property at the registry to show that what you have been told by the vendor and the documents the vendor had shown you at the last meeting corresponds with what is at the registry, whatever state you want to buy that property from. So it's important that many people make the mistake of just giving anybody their documents to go and conduct a search on. It's important that you get a professional. Most likely I would advise you get a lawyer, because lawyers specifically know what they are looking for when they look at that document. They know what they need to see in that document to know whether it is whether the person who is selling is the person who is selling and has the authority to sell and is not posing as someone else. They know the root of title, they know what to check. So it's very, very important that you get a lawyer to conduct this search for you, and not just either conduct it by yourself, or you should just get anybody of the street to conduct the search for you. It's very important that you know that family property cannot be sold this way normal properties are sold. Normal property, Mr. A just signs off the property to Mr. B and it goes that way. But family property doesn't go like that. There has to be the people who have authority to sell that property. So if one Sule, who is the son of Mr. Lagbaja, tells you that he's going to sell his father's land to you. He can be selling court case to you. He can be selling a land that at the end of the day, you either have to pay twice or you did not buy anything. You just decided to dash your money to Suli. So that's even another reason why you have to have a lawyer present when you are doing this kind of transactions. Because if that property is family property, it's your lawyer that will know how to ask the right questions and ensure that the right people are the ones that are signing your deed of assignment and all other corresponding documents when it's time to alienate that property to you. Okay, now that we've taken all these steps, we've verified that the owners are the owners, or the owner is the owner. We know the family head and the people with authority to alienate the property if it's the family land. It's necessary to get to the part of making payments. So now that it's time to make payments, depending on whatever your negotiation is, if you agree to make outright payments, it's necessary that you will be in the same, you will make the payments on the same day where the documents will be transferred to you. The deed of assignment will be signed that same day. Immediately they are receiving payment, they are signing and giving you your deed of assignment, your Form 1C, all their documentation, their governor's consent, all their documentation on that property, the CTC, they are transferring everything, their survey plan, they are transferring everything to you at the same time. So, and in the event where you're making part payments, this one is very, very important. If you're making part payments, there is a document they are supposed to sign for you. That's a contract of sale. They're supposed to sign that document and give it to you. But whether or not you're making part payments, it's important that all documents, deed of assignment, contract of sale, everything is signed on that spot, especially if you're buying a family property. But the sellers will hold on to the deed of assignment and they will hold on to one of the document of the contract of sale till you make the full payment. They won't also give you their property documents till you make full payment, or they might give you one, give you two. They won't give you everything they have, just to ensure that you make the full payment. But they should sign everything on that day, because it might not be easy to get them to sign everything again at the end of the day. And you should also note that after you buy, one important thing is possession. If they are not going to move, let's say they live in that property and they are not going to move out, I would advise that you do not make full payment outrightly. It's necessary that you make part payment, and when they move out, you complete the balance of the payment. Another importance of the contract of sale, this is again why you need your lawyer, is that if after you have made your part payment, which they agreed to collect, they meet someone else maybe a week later who tells them is going to pay them double what both of you have negotiated, they are unable to sell that property to that person because they already have a contract of sale with you. So it's also necessary for you to ensure that you meet up with the terms as you guys have stated it in the contract of sale, and you don't default. And in case they go and sell that property to that other person, the only thing you can collect from them is not just the money for the acquisition of that property, the money that you paid them. No, they can either pay you damages, or the court, if you take them to court, they will either have to pay damages, or the court will even say that it does not acknowledge the sale they made to the other person, and the court will say they should give the property back to you. So it's important that you know that when you make part payment, you collect the document from them, so that in case they decide not to sell that property to you again, you will take them to court and you will most likely be victorious. It's important for me to state that all these points I've stated from the beginning till now, it doesn't mean it should only apply when you are dealing with individuals on the property. Even when it is an estate agent that is selling that particular property, you still need to take all these steps. You still need to apply all these steps. You still need to search about the land. You still need to make inquiry. You still need to make all these steps, because the fact that it is a company that is selling it to you does not mean that they cannot scam you. As soon as you buy, I'm begging you, if you're buying a land as soon as you buy, take possession. If you are buying a land and you've used all your money to acquire that land, I beg you, please go and borrow money to build a fence around that land. Take possession. If it's ordinary land, go and build fence there and gate and padlock it. Just do something. Don't leave your land and go home. Don't abandon your land. If it's a property, call a painter. Even if you don't have money to start renovating, call a painter to start painting, or call bricklayer to go start breaking somewhere. Just take possession. Just do something, because most times when people that they call land grabbers, in quote, omoniles, or whatever they call them in your own area, when they take over people's property, it's because those properties have been abandoned. Not abandoned in the sense of abandonment, but you bought a land 1 week, 1 month, you did not go back there. You did not, maybe you just came to check, to show your family and friends that you finally bought the land, or you finally bought the house, but you are not doing anything, no construction, nothing. And then you are surprised one day when you decide to do something and another person comes to tell you that they bought this land, they sold the land to another person, and the next thing you have a court case, you are in court for the next 10 years. They might eventually give you the land though, as the owner of the land, but the 10 years that you've wasted, the money you've wasted, the time you've wasted, your resources, your energy, your mental health, everything. So it's important that the moment you buy, as you're buying like this, don't let 1 week pass. Go and take possession. If it's a virgin land, start building fence. If it is a house, start painting it. Even if the paint will waste, just paint it and padlock the gate, just to ensure that everybody knows that you have taken full possession of that property. Okay, now that you know all what you're supposed to do when it's time to acquire a land, it's necessary that I quickly run you through some few things that you should not do when you want to acquire a property. Number 1, do not buy because they have promised you ram and vegetable oil and rice. Salah is coming again, and most of these real estate companies, they will come and tell you that if you buy land today, or you pay 50,000 naira for one land in one place, they are going to give you ram, they will give you vegetable oil, they will give you this, they will give you that. My dear, 1 million naira or 5 million naira that you give to them, that ram is going, do you know how many rams 5 million naira will buy for you? So please don't buy because someone has promised you land. Don't buy a land you have not physically seen. I stated this, I reiterated this point earlier. Don't buy any land you have not physically seen. They've not allocated for us, they will allocate for us. It's not your business. Any land you want to buy, let them show you this is your land from point A to point B. Any land you want to buy or any property you want to buy, ensure that it exists. You've seen it physically. Don't buy a land without a lawyer. This is very, very, very important. It might be when it's time to sign or when it's time to pay, you go and call your lawyer. But just ensure that you have a lawyer, because at times, most people, they don't get all the documents they're supposed to get at once because they did not bring a lawyer. I've seen a situation whereby someone wanted to buy a land in Lagos, and after they bought, they didn't get Form 1C. When it was time to register that land, everybody knows you can't register land without Form 1C. They went back to the seller, that, okay, please come and sign Form 1C for us. And this man said they should go and bring 1 million naira before he signs Form 1C. And lo and behold, he collected another 1 million naira without thinking about it. Trust me, God will judge him, yes. But do you know the year God will judge him? He has collected your 1 million. He has collected another extra 1 million above your negotiation price. So it's important that you get a lawyer so that the person will know all the things they are supposed to collect from them at once, because it's not easy to go back. Don't buy land because one of your family members is selling it. You've not seen situations when mothers are scamming their children, fathers are scamming their children. So it's now that your cousin that you've not seen in years, that you think will not scam you. Don't buy a land simply because your cousin is not buying it. I'm not saying don't patronize your family members, but ensure that whether it's your family that is selling it or not, you take all these steps before you buy the property. Also, don't buy a land because your religious leader, whether your pastor or your imam, says so. If they say that they saw it in your dream that you will buy land, it doesn't mean it is the land that their son Tade is selling that they saw in your dream. They saw you will buy land. Yes, you will buy land, but it's not the one Tade is selling. One very, very important one. This one, it choke, because I see people make that mistake. Don't buy land because your favorite celebrity is their ambassador. I don't even understand. I actually don't understand this. Because your favorite celeb is the ambassador of this real estate management company, next thing you've got to go and buy it. You did not do any due diligence. They didn't show you the property. They are telling you that they will allocate it to you in the next 4 months, but you've parted away money simply because this person that you love in the entertainment industry is their ambassador. It beats me. Please stop buying lands because of that. More often than not, what people get when they get scammed is press statements with the celeb saying, I alienate myself, I remove myself, I do not in any way whatsoever. They will start doing one press conference or the other, going from one media house to the other just to clear their name. After 3 months, everybody would have they would have forgotten. The next thing is rinse and repeat. They will do it. They will move to another endorsement deal. So it's important that even if you're going to buy a land, even if you like that real estate company, simply because of your celeb, you still take all these steps that I have listed above before you part away with money. So guys, that's it on this episode of Legal Talk with Hilmi. Yeah, you can see I'm very passionate about this episode because I've seen people lose so much money and it gets to me in a way that I do not like. That's why I decided to do it and speak with so much passion. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Till I come your way again next time, I remain Temitope Odenka. I know that you were hearing some voices in the background. That's my little princess, trying to show herself. I think she wanted to feature, but in a future video she's going to come and teach you guys something because she has a lot on her mind. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Till we see you again next week, remain blessed.